What if the pain you've spent your life hiding, those invisible battles, could become the reason you finally transform? Pause. Let that settle. Close your eyes just for a second. Imagine the criticism, losses, and betrayals you face. Picture them one by one. Now, what if I told you that something hidden within those moments could make you unshakable? Not by building a wall, but by discovering your true core. This journey isn't for the faint-hearted. But if you're still here, chances are you're ready. Let's begin. Most people walk through life armored. You know, the I'm fine mask. Maybe it's the forced smile at work or being the dependable one, always strong for everyone else. But behind closed doors, what happens? The smallest word can gut you. A memory can spiral you into hours of anxiety. You replay conversations obsessively, wondering, did I do something wrong? Why do I feel hollow? We live in a culture that idolizes toughness, but being untouchable comes with a price. Suppressing pain only lets it rot beneath the surface, leaking into every relationship, ambition, and dream. I want you to ask yourself, how much of your life is lived for others' approval? How many times have you silenced your own needs because you worried you'd seem weak? Take a breath. This isn't a call out, it's an invitation. You're not broken. In fact, the very struggles you're desperate to hide are the map home. Let's talk about the hidden costs. By ignoring our pain, we create endless drama, inside and out. Small triggers become catastrophes. We project blame or shrink into ourselves, numbing out with phones, food, distractions. It's exhausting, and it's lonely. Why? Because real connection cannot happen through armor. Every wall you build to protect yourself doubles as a prison. But here's the plot twist. Real strength doesn't come from refusing to feel. It comes from facing our shadows intentionally. Carl Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So ask yourself, what pain are you running from? What truth are you scared to let into the light? Right now, stop and scan your life. Think of the patterns that repeat, the relationships that fizzle, the job changes, the unfinished projects. How many of those are traced back to a wound you avoided, a fear you tried to outrun? Take a moment, pause the video if you need, and write down one recurring pain. Stare at it. Breathe. This is courage. You're already ahead of 90% of people simply by admitting pain exists. Because the paradox is, the moment you stop running and turn face to face with your wounded self, you stop being a victim of your past. You move from helplessness to self-awareness. Here's the truth the world doesn't tell you. Self-acceptance is the root of all resilience. Most people try to fix themselves by changing jobs, partners, cities. But healing is not an outer journey. It's an inward one. When you embrace your story, every scar, every betrayal, you become unstoppable. Not because you are never hurt, but because you finally know you can survive the hurt. Remember, it's not about never falling. It's about getting back up, faster, wiser, more compassionate with every step. Pause. How would your life change if you believed this? Let's dive deeper. Carl Jung believed the greatest suffering comes from cutting off parts of ourselves. We reject our anger, deny our sadness, hide our softness. We try to live as only the good or strong parts. But this is where pain festers. Jung called the ignored parts the shadow, the repository of all you're unwilling to see about yourself. Here's the secret. Your shadow isn't evil. It only wants your attention. When you embrace it, shame turns to understanding, fear to wisdom, pain to power. So the next time you feel triggered, anxious, or out of control, pause. Ask, what is my shadow showing me right now? No need to answer out loud. Just listen. You're learning the language of interchange. Integration is the art of welcoming all parts of yourself. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming real. You acknowledge your old wounds. The time you were criticized, abandoned, overlooked. You stop hiding and instead say, "You're part of me. What do you need to teach me?" Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Every dark corner you light up becomes fuel. Fuel for self-understanding, fuel for growth, fuel for connection. Try this. Write a letter to your younger self. What pain did they carry? What hope did they lose sight of? Now, write what you would say to comfort them. This is integration, dialogue, reflection, acceptance." Talking about pain is one thing. Facing it every day, that's the work. Presence means giving yourself permission to feel, without judgment. Next time criticism lands, instead of intellectualizing or reacting, just breathe. Name the feeling. Anger, sadness, fear. Ask, what's beneath this? Maybe it's the longing to be accepted, the ache to be seen for real. This kind of radical presence rewires your nervous system. Little by little, you stop being owned by your triggers. You simply become aware. That's when transformation begins. Let me share a few real stories of people you know, but through a lens you may not have considered. Take Mike Tyson. He wasn't just born a champion. He was forged in chaos. Raised in a violent, unstable environment, arrested dozens of times before he was a teen. Tyson grew up fighting to survive. But when he stepped into the ring, that pain became precision. That rage became discipline. He didn't run from his demons. He used them. And at just 20 years old, he became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. Then there's Cristiano Ronaldo. Today, he's a global icon, but his beginnings were anything but glamorous. Born on a small island in Portugal, he lived in poverty, shared a room with all his siblings, and left home at 12 to pursue football. Alone, terrified, and often mocked for his accent and slight frame. But he channeled every ounce of that pain into practice, into obsession, into greatness. While others slept, he trained. While others doubted, he built. And through relentless self-discipline, he rose to become one of the greatest athletes of all time. And of course, LeBron James. Raised by a single mother, constantly shifting homes, no stability, no guarantees. Most people count him out before he ever picked up a basketball. But LeBron didn't let his story stay small. He rose, not just as an athlete, but as a leader, a father, a philanthropist, a force for change. He didn't escape his pain. He used it to lift others. These people didn't become great in spite of their pain. They became great because they met their pain and transformed it. Their stories remind us, your darkness doesn't disqualify you. It initiates you. If you're still listening, you're likely ready to stop surviving and to start living. For real. So here's your invitation. Stop blaming, shaming, or numbing. Get curious about your pain and see it as a messenger and a teacher. Right now, think of one wound you've ignored. How could it become a gift not just for you, but for the people around you? Drop your reflections in the comments. If you want to go deeper, I'll be sharing more practices, stories, and interviews on this channel. Subscribe, and let's keep exploring together. We grow faster when we're seen. Share your story. Comment the phrase, "I choose transformation." Support someone else with a like or reply. Transformation isn't a solo path. When we speak our truth, we give permission for others to do the same. I read every comment. In this space, you are not alone. This work, integration, facing pain, choosing presence, it's not easy, but neither is staying stuck. You will stumble, you will rise, but you will do so consciously, powerfully, and with compassion for yourself and others. So next time pain visits, remember, it's not your enemy, it's your awakener. Thank you for being on this journey. If these words stirred something in you, let's keep going. The next video will teach you something monumental. Subscribe. Turn the notification on. It might just change the way you see everything.